Hey, everybody, this is TJR,
And this is Robert Kinsler.
and welcome back to our top 100 songs of all time. If this is your first time watching one of these episodes, a quick explanation. This is a stream of consciousness list. We are not thinking historically. We are not considering social or musical or significance or anything like that. We are just simply taking the first five that come to mind, talking about them, and then the next five after that, and the next five after that. So this episode, we're going to discuss 61 through 65. If you've missed any of our previous episodes, there's a playlist link you can check out. And of course, we invite you to name your five as well in the comments. So numbers 61 through 65. And I'm going to start now with my number 61 here. This time, it's going to be a track that until we did this, until I told you what I was going to do, you probably had not heard of this song before, I'm guessing. And I'm sure most of our audience has not heard of this track or this artist before. This is because this is a track from Patty Witton, who is a singer-songwriter, who is an artist that has never gotten her due. But hopefully I shed a little bit of light to you, at least on this one song here. Her music hovers between between roots and Americana music and the mystical leanings and poetry of Joni Mitchell. And the song is entitled "The Second Longest Day of the Year" from her album Land of Souvenirs. And I describe this song as very dreamy folk rock. You listen to it, and you are instantly transported into a musical dream world that ends much too soon. And if you go check this song out, the rest of the album is pretty darn good too.
TJR, I'm glad you sent me that this was going to be on your list. I did have a chance to listen to it leading up to today. This is an absolutely beautiful song. Patty has a wonderful voice, and her voice is ideally suited to the dreamy kind of moodscape of this song. And yeah, it definitely makes me want to hear more music from her.
Cool. I'm glad it had that effect. And so I'll turn it over to you, sir. What is your number 61?
It's about time I included a Doors track on my list, TJ.
Mm.
I've loved the Doors since I first heard this song around the time of its release as a single in early 1967, and that would be Light My Fire. It
Okay.
captures all the thrilling elements of the Doors' signature sound, a psychedelic vibe with Jim Morrison's incredible baritone vocals and that musical magic that's provided by Robbie Krieger on guitar, Ray Manzarek on the keyboards, and drummer John Densmore. And I absolutely just love this song.
It's a great song. And of course, there is nothing quite like that amazing keyboard solo that opens the song, that slightly classically music influenced keyboard solo. And then, of course, that insane keyboard solo in the middle of the song that is just to this day has not gotten old. So great pick, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And I think
And
as we both said, I think a lot of times our picks, it's where does the song still sound as good now as it did back in the day or whenever we first heard it?
yeah,
And when you think Light My Fire, I mean, all the how old the song is and yet how vibrant and alive it sounds. It blows my mind, really.
yeah, it's great. And and I'm surprised you haven't brought up a Doors song yet. I'm glad you have. It makes me realize that I wonder, have I brought up a Doors song in the last 1 through 61? I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to need to look. And if not, I need to make sure a Doors song makes it in the next episode. So
Oh, absolutely.
stay tuned for that, everybody. I know which one it's going to be, too. And if I haven't done this one yet, I know which one it's going to be. I'm not going to say here. You'll have to tune in next episode. Um, Let me go on now. I will do my number 62, which is a song entitled "The Three Great Alabama Icons" by the Drive-By Truckers, a real favorite band of mine. And this is from their album Southern Rock Opera, which is probably one of their best albums. It's one that Rolling Stone magazine gave great accolades to. This particular track is a very personal autobiographical song. Instead of vocals, it features a spoken word monologue from guitarist and vocalist Patterson Hood, who contrasts his teenage years against the backdrop and history of Alabama Governor George Wallace, football star Bear Bryant, and Leonard Skinner vocalist Ronnie Van Zant. It's a very powerful personal accounting of what the song describes as the duality of the Southern thing, which is an examination of Southern attitudes. And it is backed by this very dark, mysterious, heavy, pulsating, guitar-driven rhythm. And the closest thing I can compare it to would be some of Jim Morrison's poetry live with the Doors, when they would just start vamping something and he would just start doing poetry, except this is a very not abstract, very linear, and very direct personal accounting from the songwriter. And that is my number 62.
TJ, I had a chance, and I know you've brought up the Drive By Truckers a few times over the years when we've talked music, which we often do. And this is a song that really makes you think. And like you, even though it's spoken word, it's very gripping. And like you said, I think what he's trying to say is probably at the core of what's important about the song, but it is very listenable. And this is a song that I definitely plan to listen to again and try to glean some of the deeper meanings of it. But like you said, there's a lot going on here, and it's a very arresting track. And
it's completely captivating from start to finish. And then it leads into it's part of a larger concept album called the Southern Rock Opera. And then it leads into another song right from there, which once you get to the ending of that song, when he tells you what's coming next, you can't wait to hear the next song. I won't give anything away. But yeah, cool. And what is your number 62, Sarah?
So my number 62 is from the English band Elbow, One Day Like This. Now, this is likely Elbow's best known song, and it is, like I said, it's titled One Day Like This, and it was released back in June of 2008. 15 years later after its release, this remains a favorite of mine. It's a gorgeous symphonic rock song that still sweeps me away. It's melodic, to be very sure, but Guy Garvey's vocals are glorious on a song that builds in power. With each measure, it artfully builds and builds and builds to a crescendo, and it's just an amazing song.
I have some familiarity with this band, but I had not heard this song before. So when you told me this was going to be on the list, when you showed me your list, I went and gave this one a listen and was really impressed. This is a very beautiful song. Such a sense of longing that it has. I really did like this one. And I do have one Elbow album in my collection, but I had not heard this one before. So thanks for letting me check this one out.
Great.
My number 63 is from a well-known classic artist, Billy Joel. It's from his album, The Nylon Curtain, an album that I have talked about in the past. I've often said this is Billy Joel's Sgt. Pepper album. And the song is called Pressure. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in our age range have probably heard this song, or they've at least saw the video when it was on MTV, when it got regular rotation. I have said in the past that only in music can heartache and sadness be a wonderful thing to experience. And the same holds true for other emotions that we avoid in real life, like stress and pressure, which is what this song is about. Just pressure bearing down on you. The song's rhythm of bass and drums I describe it as half human heartbeat that's getting more intense and half ticking time bomb. The way the bass and the drums intersect with each other. Played over it is, of course, this very schizophrenic keyboard line. The lyrics cover themes of paranoia and emotional stress. And this is definitely one of Billy Joel's darker songs and one of the best songs on what is, in my opinion, one of his very best albums.
TJ, a good call. This is a great song, and I agree with you. The Nylon Curtain is a great album. I remember picking it up on vinyl upon its initial release back in the day, and it like we've been talking about. I might be a little redundant here, but this is music, and this is specifically a song that holds its weight all these many years later. Great
And
song.
yeah, the video is still pretty innovative for its time, I have to admit, too. That music video that they made back then. I remember the video was very captivating, but I've always had my own music video that goes in my head whenever I hear it. There's always one that goes in my head all the time. And what is your number 63?
Well, 63, this is a band that I have featured before, but it's been a while. So what I brought, number 63 for me is the band the Jayhawks and their song Save It for a Rainy Day. This is a spirited and uplifting song originally released back in 2013, so 10 years ago. The Jayhawks Save It for a Rainy Day is definitely a song that will lift your spirits. It's only 3 minutes, but it captures the Minnesota band's knack for blending bewitching Americana songcraft with a tuneful power pop kind of style overlay. And I just love this song, and it's one of those songs I'll play it, and then I'll play it again, and then I'll play it again.
Cool. I had not heard of this one before. Now, the Jayhawks were a band that you initially started telling me about as we were reviewing albums. And I, of course, knew that one hit single they had back in the 90s called Blue. I knew that one song. And as time has gone on, I've actually added a few Jayhawk albums to my collection. This album is not one of them, so I was not familiar with this song. This was a very 70s. I really kind of compared this to a lot of 70s folk rock, in my opinion, is how this song felt to me. I think I need a few more listens. It didn't quite grab me at first, but I think I need a few more listens. But this was definitely, I wouldn't say this was at all a bad listen. This is a nice listen, but I think I need to hear it a few more times to see how it grabs me. And
sounds good.
I will move on to my number 64, which is a classic by a classic band. My number 64 is Minstrel Wind by Heart from the album Dog and Butterfly. I'll never forget the first time I heard this. It immediately captured me. It immediately just drew me into its world, musical world, and didn't let go until the last note faded out. And to this day, it still does that. This is Heart's Stairway to Heaven. I think it's probably their single best song ever. It is a mystical journey that begins with a whisper, but ends with a cosmic explosion. An old friend of mine back in the day once referred to this song as a musical spiritual orgasm. And that description, I would like to take credit for it, but I can't. But that description really summed it up for me. And I said, that is definitely how to describe this song.
Yeah. TJ, what I will say about this is it showcases all the best signature strengths of Heart, whether we're talking about the impressive vocals, kind of like that, kind of like you're saying, the Celtic folk influences or the British folk that they had, but then also those powerful blues rock jam. It has all that. Plus, it has just a lot of strengths, what it's saying lyrically. It's just a great song. You're absolutely right. Heart, to me, is a band that has never, they've always been in the shadow of kind of some of the other great bands to emerge in the 70s. And I don't know why that is. I think Nancy and Ann Wilson are quite the pair. And I think you're right. This is just a fantastic song.
Right on. And so what do you have for number 64?
So me jumping ahead to 64, speaking of great duos, my number 64 comes from the British duo Tears for Fears, and it's the song Call Me Mellow. Now, this is not one of the songs that people will remember being released in the 80s. This actually was off the band's comeback album. So this came out in 2005, and that the album was their sixth album, and this album really never got its due. But this song in particular, I just want everyone to go check it out, give it a listen. Give the entire Everybody Loves a Happy Ending album a good listen. but Call Me Mellow is just so intoxicating, so bewitching. This is just a great song.
I was not familiar with this album. And until I went to go check it out, was not familiar with this song. And I think you summed it up really well. I listened to it and I went, wow, that is very Beatlesque. But something on the second half, it's also very late McCartney, like
Yeah,
later period McCartney, in my opinion. It comes off that way too. But either way, it's instant ear candy. And so
yeah, you're right.
after that track, I listened to the second track that followed right after it. I like that one too. So I'm definitely going to give this album, Everybody Loves a Happy Ending. I'm definitely saved it to favorites on Tidal so that I can check it out at a later time. But yeah, great track.
Good.
So
Now, what do you have? So you're going to finish out the episode before I get to my 65. We're going to hear what your 65 is, right?
yes, it's time for me to do 65, and I'm not 65 yet.
Right.
It's my 65. It's my number 65 song, and my number 65 song is "Praying for Time" by George Michael from the album Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. Every time I listen to this track, I'm blown away. I remember I was blown away the first time I heard it. It's a great track, to be sure. But the first time I heard it, I was wrapping my brain around the musical quantum leap that George Michael made with this album and this song. I mean, from writing songs like Wake Me Up Before You Go Go with Wham, to a song like this, Praying for Time, a song that he said in interviews was inspired by John Lennon, by the works of John Lennon. He was definitely trying to channel John Lennon in that song. And in my opinion, he succeeded. In fact, this is me talking now, not George Michael, but this is not the thing he ever said. But when I hear this song, I really view this song as what was at the time, which was the 90s, as his answer to Imagine. And I think he succeeded on every level with this song.
And TJ, I have to be honest. I'm very familiar with George Michael's hits. I have not heard this song before, so I need to. I know you mentioned it, so and it sounds pretty compelling what you're telling me today. So I, for one, definitely should probably have heard this previously, but I am going to listen to it now, and I'm pretty excited to hear it. Being a big John Lennon fan, but it sounds like he did make an amazing leap, because I was not really a fan of Wham. I was more into bands like U2 and Simple Minds and The Call and some of the more hard-edged alternative rock bands of that time, and I wasn't so much into bands like Wham. So I definitely want to check this song out.
I don't blame you. I wasn't into Wham either. You know that? But after listening to, and the whole album, Listen Without Prejudice, is astounding. It's a quantum leap, And the thing is after George Michael's passing, I went back and I didn't listen to the Wham album, but I listened to Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, which is a track that honestly in the 90s, if you'd asked me then, I would have said, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. That's just way too poppy. But then I listened to it again and I thought, it's no more poppy than Love Me Do by the Beatles. And it was as if George Michael took this quantum leap, or as if the Beatles had taken this quantum leap from their first album, Please Please Me, to the White Album. That's kind of what it's like. Is if you'd gone from Please Please Me and then put out the White Album after that, or Abbey Road after that, you'd go, what? Is that the same band? Was that the same artist? Same thing. If you look at what George Michael did with Wham, or even his first solo album, Faith, and then you listen to this, you're like, whoa, is that the same person? What happened in between? He just grew in a way that, you didn't see coming. And I'm just going to briefly quote, since you haven't heard the song yet,
okay.
I'll briefly quote the closing lyrics, some of the lyrics to the chorus. It's so hard to love. There's so much to hate, hanging on to hope when there is no hope to speak of. And the wounded skies above say it's much too late. well, maybe we should all be praying for time. That's the chorus.
Yeah, powerful.
And,
Yeah, I definitely. You have my word. I'm going to definitely check the song out.
Yeah, go check it out. And everybody else, if you haven't, go check it out. And this is why I have no problem with him getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because of that album, he deserves it. Okay. And just for that song, he deserves it. There's another track on there where he emulates, where he was, after trying to channel John Lennon, he tried to channel Paul McCartney. And he was equally successful with that song too. And I won't give the title. Just listen to the album. I'm sure you'll catch which one it is. Okay. It's unmistakable that he's channeling McCartney in that song. And he has said so in interviews that that's what he was trying to do. Anyways, though, so there we go. And let's go ahead now. I'm
going to do my 65.
Yes, please do.
I'll cap all this, and I'm not 65 yet either, since we're both on the subject, right? But
yes.
Hey, so I'm going to talk about a great song from Garbage titled "Special." Now, this is a song that most people will know, and what I want to say about this is I was, I did some research on it because I knew the song would be on my list, and it shocked me when I began to think this came off their album Version 2.0, which was released back in 1998. I said, oh my God, that's 25 years ago. I simply can't believe this song was released a quarter century ago. It still sounds so great. And it's one of my all-time favorite songs, which is why I'm talking about it today. On its surface, it's an infectious rock track, but listen more carefully, and there's these layers of experimental touches, and both vocally, it sounds as if Shirley Manson might be doing some creative things where she's doubling her voice. They've altered the bass and the guitars so that there's some undercurrent of kind of, additional energy. It's just a really interesting song when you listen to it very carefully, beyond it just being melodic and infectious and catchy and all that. But there's a lot going on in the song too, which is, I think, why one that you can hear here, why Garbage was so, I think, different than a lot of the other 90s bands. And I consider them a very groundbreaking band from that time.
And they're still active to this day, still putting out new music.
They certainly are, yeah.
And I'll be honest, I had kind of forgotten about this particular song. When you first brought it up, I thought, what do I remember that? I played it. Oh, that's one. I remember this one, yeah. It'd been a while. It is hard to believe it's been 25 years. And it's a good song. It's a really good song. It was great to hear it again. It was also good to hear you discuss why you feel it was experimental. So I want to hear it again now and try to listen for what you're listening for and check that out. So thanks. I appreciate that. So that is our 61 through 65. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, check out the playlist where you can check out every episode so far. We're going to keep going till we get to number 100. And now we invite you to list your 61 through 65 in the comments, everybody. We'll look forward to checking out yours because your list is just as valid as ours. And so we'll look forward to checking that out. Robert, thank you. And we'll get together again soon. And we will go through 66 through 70 as we get closer to 100. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. If you would like to show some extra support, please consider becoming a patron supporter. Patron supporters receive exclusive weekly videos not available on this channel. And patron supporters do get access to this episode with all the music clips that we couldn't do here on the channel for copyright reasons. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.